Alright, good morning, Bobberheads. We are on the scoot. It's been more than a week since our last trip. We have been in isolation just because there's been an outbreak of COVID in Manila. So we were exposed to someone who is COVID positive. We are on our way actually to my parents in San Juan to drop off some meds for my mom, featuring our Vespa. So in this vlog I'll talk about what I've done with the Vespa, my thoughts on it. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Okay, friends, so I wanted to talk to you guys about the Vespa. So Vespas are super nimble, they're super light. They're not as light as your average scooter. They're pretty heavy, they're pretty tall. Even on the stock height, I'm still on my toes when the Vespa stopped. So you really have to get used to the idea that you'll need to either tilt the Vespa to the side so that you're flat-footed on one side, or you just get used to being on your comfortable tiptoed stance for the Vespa. When I say it's not light, it's not as light as the Clicks or the Mios or whatever. It has some heft to it, but at the same time, when it's running, it doesn't feel sluggish. It's still pretty nimble that you can just throw it around when you need to. So a lot of Vespa owners, I think, are surprised at just how heavy the vehicle feels, but at the same time so light and nimble once it's running. It doesn't rely heavily on counter steering. A lot of it is still handlebar turning. It's super efficient in terms of gasoline. I think I'm getting around 28 to 30 kilometers to the liter on this. So I've actually had this for a month. As you can see, we've done about 220 kilometers total distance on the Vespa, but I've only refilled this recently, and I guess that's one of the advantages of being on a scoot versus on a regular on four wheels. I do have to say though that I do bottom out on these humps sometimes if I go really fast, so I tend to go really slow. But you know, those humps are really high for what they are. What's also good though is that traffic has significantly lessened. Today is a Saturday and it's, I think, all at 10 o'clock. Malls are a ghost town. People are scared. People are worried about the new variant. What have I done to my Vespa? So my Vespa, oh pretty. I really like this bridge a lot. So the first thing that I did to the Vespa was upgrade its variators. So a lot of you guys don't even know what variators are, right? So I'll put a picture of it in the video up here. Now, why would we do that? Because in Manila, we tend to filter a lot. We would want to have that extra push when overtaking. Also, we'd like that extra power, I guess is what you call, or extra acceleration or torque when someone's back riding. See, like this, we need to accelerate. We can easily do so on the Vespa without the engine straining too hard. And that's the advantage of upgrading your variator. So people who have Vespas actually should consider upgrading their variators if they really want to see a boost in performance for their scooters, right? And it's not that expensive. Variators, depending on the brand. So I put in a Polini variator on mine, and it just came out to around 8,000 pesos including installation. So that was the first upgrade we did for the Vespa. The second upgrade we did were the grips. So I hated the grips of the Vespa originally because they were hard and they were slippery when it was raining. So what I put in are Zalioni grips with bar ends, as you can see, and they actually mimic the Vespa 300 GTS handlebar grips as well. So I love this because they match all the chrome on the bike, right? So they're just comfortable, they're pretty, they make the bike look so much more in theme, I guess, a cohesive theme. So you notice that the bike doesn't have a lot of black plastic on it, and the grips were essentially that black plastic rubber grips, right? So I upgraded that bike. I upgraded the grips precisely for the look, but also for the feel. That guy just gave a salute to the Vespa. Anyway, I got distracted. So grips, and then we changed to shorty levers, the Leone shorty levers. Why did we switch? Because they're just more comfortable. The longer ones needed you to kind of extend your fingers like this to grab the brakes. With the Zalioni, you can actually, they're more comfortable for 2 fingers, etc, etc. So that's just something that I did as well. Since they took this apart, put in the grips, I said I might as well change the levers. The next thing I put was this. This is a fly screen, a mini fly screen. Now, why do you need a fly screen? Well, the original idea is just to keep the bugs and the wind away from your face. But essentially, I just put it because it just makes the Vespa look so classy and pretty. Some of the other things that I put, and I'll do a montage video about this later. But of course, I have the quad lock here. I did put in Bozzetti foot pegs, and I'll show that to you later on. But I put on Bozzetti foot pegs because my wife likes to ride the Vespa, or at least she'd rather ride the Vespa than the big bike. Because she's kind of short, it just makes her riding experience more, I guess it increases her confidence because her feet actually touch the pegs, like it's not floating, and it just makes her feel more stable, more comfortable. So I put that in, and the last thing I put in are the Zalioni performance shocks. Now that was one of the last things I put in, precisely because it changed the bike in terms of comfort. So for all of you who are looking to what are the first, like, to say 3 things I would what are the 3 things I would change on the Vespa right away. So I would look into the shocks, I would look into the variators, and you can either do a toss-up between the exhaust, but I like how the Vespa sounds now. I don't like the Vespa being too noisy. Maybe the seat, and maybe the grips. Now in terms of comfort, okay, so let's talk about comfort for rides for the Vespa. So because I changed the shocks, I rode the stock shocks originally for a while. For the first, I think, 200 kilometers, I rode the stock shocks, and they were just really bad. Sorry. Going back, the third thing I would change on the Vespa would be the tires. These tires, the stock tires, are very slippery. That's my issue with them. So if I hit a wet spot on a really smooth surface, like if this paint on the road was wet, it would be really slippery for my Vespa. But for city riding, I think the tires are fine. You should be able to comfortably like move around. Yep, see? Vespas can filter really easily and comfortably. So one tip for you Vespa owners, if you still have the stock side mirrors, you can use that as a gauge if you will be able to fit between the gaps and spaces of cars. But yep, that's it. Those are the three major things I would change on the Vespa. If you got a new Vespa, consider those three things first. So those are the advantages of the Vespa, what I've done to it, my thoughts on it for the first 200 kilometers that I've owned this bike. I love the efficiency, I love the nimbleness. It still has heft to it, but at the same time it's light on its feet, can filter easily. The ride height is pretty high, so you're at eye level of a lot of SUVs actually. So this is an SUV, and as you can see, our ride height is almost parallel to his riding height. So that means the top of your head, which with your head. Ooh, why is it spurting out water? Isn't that bad? Why would water be coming out of the exhaust? That's really bad if that's happening. Anyway, I think that was one of the things that attracted me to a Vespa. It doesn't sit low. It sits pretty high. You're at eye level to a lot of vehicles. And we got one of the rare colors called Relax Green. Oh, it's a McDonald's. They turned it into a McDonald's. Okay, so we are now in my old house right here. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. Okay, so we have just dropped off my mom's meds at our old house. This is my old neighborhood, and we are now going to look for my own meds. Any pharmacy that we are able to get into would be great. We saw another Vespa with the Relax Green on it. Wasn't there a drugstore here before? Okay, so we're looking for a newly opened Mercury drugstore somewhere here. They said it's near Burgos Circle. Comfortable, lots of compartment space. It looks amazing. It just stands out, right? The Vespa. When you see a Vespa on the road, you just like just know you have to look and appreciate the Vespa. Again, I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Hopefully not too long, as the lockdown or as the situation gets better in Manila. So chill out, you know, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a good rest of the day, guys. Peace.